Hello and welcome back to the Cardiff Central podcast. My name is Dan in the hot seat again. I've switched up my co-host this week. Got rid of Carwyn. He's unavailable and he was annoying anyway. So Harley's back from holiday. Harley, how are you? And would you like to apologise to the listeners for taking a holiday?
Uh, it's nice being back. It was a great holiday. I do not apologize. It was very much needed. My brain was about to explode from doing two podcasts a week for over a year now.
That's fair enough. That's 1 week off then is acceptable, but back to it for another 12 months. And then we've got a second special guest of our Summer of Special Guest podcast, a man who started out Pontypridd, come through the Cardiff Academy, Wales in the 20s, made 111 first team appearances for Cardiff, including a particular one in Bilboa, and went on to play for Cornish Pirates, is now back at Ponty as a player and a coach. Garyn Smith, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. It's good to catch up with someone who is obviously a favourite at the Arms Park. For 8 years, I think you were in the first team.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looking back on the website today, seeing how many seasons I was trying to count back. I'm feeling a bit old now. Body's falling apart a bit.
Long time. So take us back right to the start. Where did rugby start for you as a youngster?
So rugby basically for me started at Ponty. I think it was under 8s. I think I started at and come through the mini junior section there, into the youth, and same time jumped in with the Cardiff Blues under 16s. Come through the age grade system and under 18s, and then got taken into the academy. Um, as long with that, playing with through Ponty Youth as well, and then progressed into with a few years in the academy then, and with the Ponty first team, bouncing back and forth, and then I think it was the 2014 season, coming through into the first.
You come through at same time as a kind of big group of you from the north of the region. There's Ethan Lewis, Liam Belcher, Thomas, Jared Evans was in there as well. Sort of something of a golden generation, I guess, coming through the academy. You had great success at Ponty in that time then as well. What was it like playing with those boys and coming through them?
Yeah, it was great. We had a really good uh, group of young players who more or less played with each other all the way through, at Ponty age grid level, really, as well as linking up with a few of the Ronda boys with Belcher and Ethan Lewis as well. So when we had a really good under 16s and under 18s group of players who were all quite close knit, and like you said, more or less all progressed through into the academy at the same time, really. And a lot of us have picked up professional contracts and stayed in the game a long time, and other boys have gone on to make international honours as well. So as a group of players, there's been, like you said, a golden generation really of from that kind of area and that age.
Yeah, so you sort of mentioned that you sort of broke through 2014, 2015 season, then being more heavily cemented in the squad the following season. How did you find that transition from sort of Welsh Premiership up to well, it'd been Celtic League still then, or
Yeah.
Pro 12? Then how did you
Um,
find that? And did it help that you had these guys you've been playing with for quite a while as well?
oh yeah, massively. Like we obviously training every single day, and nothing compares to playing match day at on the Arms Park, and especially when we were playing on the 3G, going from a heavy old clay pitch at Sardis Road and going to a fast track at the artificial is a bit different. Um, but with those group of boys, it did make the environment a lot easier and gelling with each other. I think we all kind of knew how each other played and stuff, and but obviously we were all still learning and progressing as young players, and we had a good group of senior players there who kind of helped us along the way as well and showed us the ropes really.
Uh, Fast forward a little bit then, 2017-18 comes along. You're sort of pretty much cemented in the first team by then, and started weirdly, I think it's fair to say. Like there was some tough results in the first half of that season. I think we lost at home to Zebra, got nilled by Sale. Then Danny Wilson announces he's off at the end of the season.
Yeah.
From that point onwards, then, though, second half of the season, it was a total change. What was the dressing room and sort of the atmosphere around the club like that season?
Like you say, it would start. We did have a difficult run. I think the one point in that season which really brought all the players together is we had that trip to South Africa, and we had about a 55-hour flight travel journey out there, and I think flights got delayed, stuck in hotels, and I think a lot of the supporters actually arrived in the hotel before us. So I think it was a bit of a nightmare of a journey that actually brought all the boys together. We actually put quite a few good results together at the end of the season, and then obviously went on to winning in Bilbao. But like, yeah, I think to go from where we started the season on and ended there, I think we couldn't have ended it better. And a lot of the boys who played in there are still playing now. Obviously, moved on to other clubs, and boys still just keep in contact. And it's great for the club and great for the players. And what an unbelievable experience that was really.
Was it like from the outside? It felt like the second half of that season, everyone was just like super close squad wise, and I think it was a time when there was a really good like connection between the players and supporters as well, and the coaches. Was it sort of like an end of an era kind of feeling, like a one last hit out with Danny and Jockey moving on? Obviously Jockey has since come back,
Yeah.
but was it that sort of like, we got nothing to lose here, let's just go for it?
Yeah, I think so. We like boys, all the players go out every week to put performance in, and I think a couple of results that we started getting to the groove, and boys started getting more confident, and just allowed us to play our game. The Cardiff used to enjoy playing a fast-paced, expansive game, especially on the Arms Park. That really does help. And then when you play in front of a crowd, I remember the semi-final when we played Pow there, how packed that was unbelievable. That was one of the best experiences on a match day that I've been at. Anyway, how close the supporters are to the pitch, and the place was bouncing, to be honest. And when that final whistle went, I think boys couldn't have been any more happy. And I think that in the change room, you see all the pictures and stuff afterwards, which are unbelievable memories, and all the sing song with Kruger as well. Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience, and something I think all the boys will definitely cherish for the rest of their playing careers and life after rugby.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that the season before that season was when I sort of started getting really into Cardiff rugby, being more of a starting what there's a lot of rugby fans do with Team Wales and then picking your region. Obviously Bilboa sticks. That was a huge memory for pretty much everyone involved. But are there any other big key memories of your time in blue and black that stick out?
Yeah, I got quite a few actually. So obviously that Bilbao is the main one. That's the pinnacle of what I've done in the rugby. There's Toulouse when we played out there. I think we won just at the end. I think we were defending for just outside the 22 and managed to get a choke tackle right at the end. I think it was me and Chingler, I think it was, put a choke tackle in and managed to turn the ball over, and that was the end of the game. Montpellier away, I think that was a bit of a daunting one. I think it was me and Jared at 10 and 12. I think I was 20 at the time, I think, and Jared might have been 19. And then you're playing against a big South African forward, basically playing for Montpellier at the time with Duplessis at hooker. So yeah, that was a couple of big memories, but mainly against the French teams as well, really. Um, and that, especially that power game at the Arms Park, that's definitely up there as well.
Bilbao, then obviously you start on the bench, but you come on quite early. Was it
Yeah.
Lane got injured?
Yeah, Laney went off. I think it was his hand. I think it might have been. I think he might have broke his hand. So I think I can't really remember off the top of my head now what minute it was, but I think it was just a bit of a panic and just get on the field, really, to be honest. Yeah, that was just something I know I can cover wing and played quite a lot of it, but coming in at that position, and yeah, it's a bit different when just playing at home, and you kind of got used to used to being in the Arms Park when you got a big crowd like that in the Bilbao Stadium, and yeah, trophies on the line is a bit different situation, a bit out of your comfort zone out there. So, but no, that was an unbelievable experience, and something I'll definitely cherish forever now, really.
I think I think the major moment of the game, which is sort of like, because I think people sort of gloss over the fact you scored a try and the comeback.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
like no one seems to remember that. They just remember the turnover right at the end.
Yeah.
But that try, I mean, you've probably scored a couple on the end of Jared Evans' little chip throughs over your career.
Yeah, Jai's just unbelievable player, and his vision and execution of just those little kicks and be able to pump that ball with those little short passes, and yeah, he's for identifying space. He's right up there. He's disappointing that he hasn't been able to pick up a few more international caps. Be a bit biased probably, but yeah, that's but no, that game, like you say, a lot of people just remember the jackal at the end of the game, and I think, like you say, a lot of people do forget that I did actually score, but it's probably not for far out. Is only but I think it was 2 meters from the line to pick the ball up and just had to put it down. But I try and tell people it's about 50 meters out. But I try and forget about the other two kicks into the stand as well. So don't worry about that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask actually, because the jackal comes from a kick ahead from yourself at the end,
Yeah,
and you have shanked two already. It's fair to
yeah,
say, like
yeah.
in the game. When you got that opportunity, are you thinking, "Oh, I can't do this again, surely," or is it just sort of it's like natural at that
I
moment to
think,
just go for
yeah,
it?
I think it was just a natural just decision and just do it. I don't think I didn't really think of the other two, to be honest. I think they happened and just moved on. Like you say, you had a couple of experienced players who just kept me going, just said, "Oh, I had to move on, next thing, don't worry about the next job." So that really did help. I think I remember speaking to Willis and Ray afterwards and just being like, "Well, they never would have kicked that third one." So yeah, it's I'm looking back and I'm wanting to watch some of the clips back as well. Is how I actually decided to kick that third one. I don't really know, but I'm actually glad I did in the end because ended up winning the game from it. So and for Chicken to kick that final one under all that pressure, and yeah, it shows the character and the player he is as well.
Yeah, and a good night after then as well. Like I don't I suppose people sometimes think, oh, it's just Challenge Cup is second tier, but in that moment, that was such a huge achievement for the club, and like for you guys to win a European trophy on that stage, probably something that you dreamed of growing up.
But yeah, massively is for the club and players. I think, like you said, it'd be a rough start of the year, and probably didn't think of anything of targeting maybe going for winning the cup, or I think we were looking more replacement within the league, and I think once you obviously get on a good cup run, it starts getting a buzz about the place, and I think everyone just got really excited. And especially that evening, that weekend, really, we luckily managed to stay out there for the final as well for the Champions Cup, and made a good weekend of it. And I think there was definitely a few sore heads and bodies after that. But yeah, the experience, and I think the weekend that we had together as a group was unbelievable. And it was definitely a few characters there that come out on that weekend as well.
So what did I ask? I mean, if you're allowed to say, I know there's some things you just can't say. But so who sort of went the hardest after that win, and who was still drinking the following week?
I don't think he'd mind me saying this, but I think Nick just put all the boys to bed. I think he did. I think you more or less. I think we walked into the hotel and he just sat on his own, just and calling all the youngsters over and just saying, "Right, sit here, get these down here," and just okay, everyone's passing. But one would go home, another one would come back, and he'd stay there drinking with everyone, just speaking about the day and rugby and life basically. So, that was definitely an experience drinking with Nick after that final.
Oh, that's just elevated my opinions of Nick.
Um, to go from quite a high to a bit of a low, then obviously not long after that, COVID comes round and you're out for a bit, and then New Year's Day 2021, I think it wasn't it? Ospreys, you suffered quite a bad knee injury at the Cardiff City Stadium. After all the COVID and then coming back from that, how tough was that to go through that injury?
Yeah, that was quite a tough one, really. I'd never really had a nasty injury until that point. I obviously I a couple of weeks off here and there through ankles and odd niggles and stuff, but nothing major where I need an operation. And to be fair, the support of family, friends, and the physios was outstanding. But I think I got my head on it pretty quickly and just got to work. To be honest, so I did that on the New Year's Day. I think it was 2 days or 3 days later. I was in having the operation. So the medical department were outstanding with me. They really did help, and the S&C with Campbell as well. He was brilliant with me, got me back fit and strong. So yeah, that was a bit of a freak accident, a bit of a freak injury that was. So to make sure backs don't go into malls again. That's really I stay well away from them now. If I can, to be honest. So yeah, it was somehow I ended up getting stuck in the middle of it, trying to stop the ball going over, adding extra weight, and somehow just ended up getting my leg caught at the bottom of the mall and bending in a certain direction that it's not used to going in. So I ended up doing my, I think it was LCL, all the outside my ligaments on my knee, and so they had to stitch them back, and yeah, so a bit painful at the time, but I think it was a bit of a tough one to take. Obviously, I'd had a good couple of running games. I made I think I made my 100th cap. I think that season, or just before. I think it was Treviso at Rodney during COVID. So I think it was definitely a tough one to take. But I think a lot of change at the end of that season. I think we had Dye come in towards the end of it as well. So that was obviously a bit difficult as well. New coach coming in, you're out injured, you got to try and work twice as hard then to try and prove yourself to get back into the team, really.
And then, so not probably would have been 18 months or so after that. I think your time at Cardiff come to an end. Then do you kind of trace it back to the injury a bit with the change of coaching, or is it just sort of one of those things where it was just the right time for both parties, or?
Yeah, looking back on it, it's probably a lot of factors that come into it. I wouldn't say it was anything to do with my injury. Like I come back, I think I did. I think I played the first game against Harlequins. I thought I'd done it right for the first game back, and obviously it takes a bit of time. And looking towards the future, I think we had obviously Max coming through as well, and Ben as well. You had Ray, you had Willis, so it was good competition within the club. And obviously I'd been there for I think might be my 8th season there at the club as well. So obviously there's natural progressions and within the club and cycles of squads and teams and stuff. So I think it might, like you say, it might have been the right time for me to move on. But something I probably didn't want to do. Obviously, what I did enjoy my time there and loved every minute of playing and training with. Obviously, it makes it easy when you got all your friends there as well. But it was definitely a difficult one because it did actually leave me quite late in the season when the decision came. So I thought I'd added running games, and towards the end picked up a play against the Munster Saracens just before the end of the season. And then I think I was due to actually start that weekend. I ended up tearing my calf. So I had a grade 2 with that, and then set me back then, and a decision of having to find another club then at the time of being injured. So luckily Cornish Pirates come in for me at the end of the season, and I'm really grateful for them for taking a chance and taking me on while I'm injured as well. So
yeah, so the next question we're going to have on was so you've led us in brilliantly is talking about your season with the Cornish Pirates. Is that was that them approaching you or your agent putting that? And how did you find the English Championship differed from the sort of the URC?
So that was a bit of both really. So my agent was obviously looking elsewhere to try and find me a club. And the Cornish Pirates actually come in and asked about me, and so I had a couple of Zoom chats and a few with them. So luckily two of the coaches down there were Welsh as well. So we had Gavin Cattle and Louis Tonkin as well from who was down in the Scarlets region. So I had a couple of good chats to them. Knew two of the boys who were down there with, well, Arwell who signed back for Cardiff, and Karen Penny who's back in Newport now. So, and without not knowing at the time that Alex Everett from the RFC was actually signing down there as well. So it was a good group of us in the end actually moved down. Yeah, so that was a strange, quick changeover. So I think that deal was sorted within end of May, I think it was, and then I had to move down for end of June. So trying to move down there as quick as possible was a bit difficult, but it got it done. Ended up staying, actually living with Arwell and Alex Everett for I think about 2 months over the pre-season, which was a bit different moving in from living on your own and moving in with two boys and Arwell's partner as well. So but yeah, the experience down there, it was really good. I enjoyed the company and the players and the coaches. Really going well with everyone down there. But there is a massive difference between playing in the URC, especially the way the Cardiff like to play, and the way the Cornish Pirates and the Championship in England actually play. So I would definitely say is a very forward orientated game, which is really confrontational. Boys are happy just to run straight at each other and just try and see who comes off best. There's not much of a playing out the back, tip in and try to run into space. The boys are happy just to try and bash each other, and yeah. So it is a lot different. It's really physical, which obviously it took me a little while to adapt to, and getting down. I did pick up quite a few niggles early on. I think with all the traveling back and forth, and I think because it's obviously quite secluded down there, so it was about 4 or 5 hour trek from Ponty all the way down to Penzance, and especially when you're stuck in traffic in Bristol, it's not a great journey. But yeah, I did it. I enjoyed the group of boys down there were outstanding, and definitely made some friends for life down there.
What's the setup of Cornish Pirate? Is it fully professional down there, or
So,
is it a mix? Is it?
No, so they're fully professional. So they train out of Penzance. They got the ground and gym and training facility down there. So I definitely say it's a lot different to what Cardiff have with the artificial. There's definitely your old school heavy pitch. They used to with the scrummaging and driving line outs. That's what they like to do and bring teams down there and try and strangle them into the corners in the 22 really. But they do have some unbelievable players who've come down from Exeter. You had the likes of Tommy Wyatt who played fullback for Exeter, Max Norrie, hooker, Rusi who played in the second row for Exeter now as well. So they really come in and they played some unbelievable rugby for us as well. So, and obviously gone and kicked on and played for Exeter then later that season as well. But it's definitely an experience down there. I'd definitely say that, yeah. But if you're not used to traveling to those type of pitches, it's definitely middle of winter. The wind coming off the seafront, but it's definitely an eye opener.
It's a shame that we don't see much of the Championship really, because it's not on telly or anything, is it? So you don't.
No,
it's sort of out of mind a little bit, and obviously
yeah,
the bit politics going on there with how they're seen in the English game as well. But you feel like it's definitely a product that could be made more of.
100%. They play some really good rugby. There's a split within the league. Obviously, you got I think it's about 6 of them. I think are professional, and the rest are semi-pro. Then, how they work that, it is difficult, and you do see this difference in the teams. You got your likes of Ealing, they were leading the way. Cornish Pirates are always up there. Coventry, you got likes of Doncaster, and then you have your other teams. Then you got like Coldy, which are right up north towards Liverpool. So and as well, there's a lot of travel. They say like, but the money's tight in there. Where you like the Cornish Pirates when your closest game is Hartpury, which is 3.5, 4 hours, 4 hours drive. That's your closest game, and then your next one, the other ones are either London, Doncaster. So you're on the bus for a minimum of 6 hours every other weekend. There's a lot of travelling for players. And like you say, when the money is tight, it does make it difficult. Especially when you're trying to compete and with the likes of Ealing, who seem to be bringing in lots of international players and international quality within this squad at times as well. But yeah, it's definitely a product where I think they could do a lot more with. Like I said, you got a couple of those players who went on and played for Exeter in that season. I know they trained with them and they were in the academy, but that regular rugby, and I think some of the rugby that is played is confrontational, but you do see likes of Bedford who play some really expansive, wide, fast playing rugby, which I think when we were done, I think they might put 50 points on us at one point up at their place, because it was played like we were playing touch rugby against them at one point.
I wouldn't expect anything less from a team coached by Mike Ray, of course.
Exactly.
Last summer, then you've made the switch back, coming back to Pontypridd, stepping out of the pro game. How tough was that decision, and sort of what does life look like for you now coming into the semi-pro setup?
Yeah, it was a bit of a transition. It was a tough one to take. It was something that I wasn't expecting to do, and it was something I wasn't hoping to do. Like I did have my agent, he was hoping to try and find me something, but the way that his finances are in rugby at the moment is being quite tight, and obviously those players, the international players, they get picked up first, and then it whittles down into who can get the cheapest and who for the quality you want as well. So squads have obviously been cut, and I was hoping to try and come back into Wales if I could, or I was trying to find any way possible that could pick me up really. But it was definitely a tough one, which probably grateful now that the Ponty had managed to bring me back and be back home as well, and have given me opportunities with work and actually stepping back into picking up a bits of coaching and stuff now, and transitioning towards that later. I know I'm still only young, I'm still only 28. Like I would have hoped I would have still been playing professionally, but obviously that's rugby and that's life, there's things you can't control. So I don't get me wrong, I'm grateful and really happy that the memories and what I achieved in my playing career, but I think I gotta start looking out for moving for later in life, and for life that I will work outside of rugby and try and transition to what I want to do later on, and stay involved with it.
Yeah, so sort of moving on to coaching. So you had your first taste of it with Cardiff under 16s in the 18-19 season. So how did that grounding help you with your coaching now, and which players sort of stood out? Although I'm sure we probably could guess a few of the likes of Big Mac, Mason Grady, Kabanga, etc.
Yeah, so that year I think Bubba actually got me involved with, I think it was towards the end of I can't remember what year it was now, with the combine. And then I think I ended up taking on the role with the attack of the Cardiff South under 16s. Like you said, there was a couple of names in there now with Big Mac starting out as prop and now moving into the back row and playing number 8. So you got what was it, Louis Hennessy, who's obviously moved on into Bath now and been outstanding for the 20s. You had Harrison James, who's obviously playing with Cardiff, and so it definitely a couple of names that have come through and progressed through, and obviously Mac has been outstanding. Now he's seen playing for Cardiff, he's definitely filled his frame and looking a big man now. But that definitely started the itch of really wanting to try to get into coaching. So definitely I've kept my name in there and tried different things. Where obviously down in Cornwall as well, I did a bit of coaching in one of the private schools down there. So as a rugby coach, Moved back. I've been doing the Ponty schools under 16s now as well. So definitely keep me on my toes as well with the young with the young boys who personalities and whatnot. Definitely a difference between the Ponty and Valley boys compared to the Cardiff boys. I'll tell you that.
And then during last season, the opportunity comes up to take on sort of assistant coach duties at Ponty. Was that a simple decision to say yes? And how are you finding that balance between still playing but coaching at the same time?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was definitely easy. It wasn't an easy decision. Sorry, to take on the role, which I wouldn't say it was a coaching role. It was just someone trying to guide the team and put structures in place for the weekend. And to be honest, we didn't really change anything. We didn't change anything at all. It was just simply messages. What can I see? How can I help the players? I think a lot of the boys actually come together and actually helped each other. You got the likes of experienced players of Joel Wicks, Dale Stuckey, but as well you had quality with you had Ryan Wilkins who come through the academy as well, Ben Bonnell who'd been down with Cardiff as well. So you had a lot of experienced players there within the back line who were quality players as well, which really did help. But yeah, and then moving into this year, then the offer come to stay on board and with me, Christian Parker and Dick Amidis heading up as well. So I did have a think about it. What did I want to do if I wanted to stay on? And for myself, it was an opportunity I couldn't really turn down. For what I want to try and progress and do it as in the future, really as a job. So it's something I kind of want to stay in rugby, and I hopefully try and working with academies or in a college or something like that. Really. So it's definitely given me experience, a lot of learning, and something that I can put my own stamp on as well. How I see the game and how I want to play as well. Which, to be fair, is learned a lot from Jockey from his time down in Cardiff. I try to meet up with Fishy and see what they do with the academy as well, and trying to keep learning as much as possible really and progressing. So that's the only way that I think trying to help the players as much as possible and help myself is just constantly learning off those people.
Obviously, not asking for plays or anything, but when with your, yeah, and you're still quite early on, you do, but do you sort of have your style of coaching? You've mentioned, how much Jockey and Fish you've been an influence, but what's sort of your philosophy when you're coaching the attack? Is it setting it, getting structures and set plays in place, or are you more about having individual skills so players can go, or is it sort of a mix?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix, I think. So I try to make it as simple as possible for the players. I don't really want to overload them too much. So just try to keep a simple shape and obviously try to be innovative and bring in different plays. It keeps boys happy and keeps them excited about what we bring in this week. What can we do? What are we looking at? But yeah, I'll try and weekly try and keep a shape and plays more or less the same. Just try and perfect in, allow boys to show off their abilities and allow them the freedom to be able to play within that structure and not restrict them too much. So obviously if you got someone who can beat players, you want to be able to put them in space and allow them those opportunities. So I think we got a good group of players now. A lot of our players did leave towards the end of the season, which was a bit of a shame. We were obviously a lot of us as coaching staff we were gutted, but for those players who have moved on, it was kind of an opportunity they couldn't turn down. So a lot of them were young enough and still hoping to try and pick up opportunities to still be professional. I think they're only 20, 21 years of age. So more or less our forward pack has stayed and is going to be consistent from last year and the year before. So those boys are picking things up pretty easy, and we've got quite a few youngsters and new faces who've come in this year now, and mainly in the back line. So it's gonna be interesting come pre-season now, trying to get all those players up and running and seeing how they go and how they impress in pre-season.
Yeah, so just to give the listeners some context, obviously Pontypridd will be playing still in the Welsh Prem next year. It's a 13-team league, an interesting mix of teams actually. You got sort of likes of Ponty, Merthyr, Neath, Froskeys, Bargoed, who've been at the top level for a while on and off the last few years. You've got Cardiff Met, who obviously run a very successful rugby program there. You've got Brecon, who've got a little bit of money behind them with the Chief and Gavin Dacey in charge there. And then a sort of good mix, good couple of trips in here as well with some good local clubs, Bonamine at Swansea, Llangennech in Llanelli, Ystrad Rhondda's a good local derby for Ponty, I'm sure. Narberth down west, Newcastle Emlyn as well, Newbridge. And then player-wise, it's been some interesting signings from Ponty as well. You've got guys who've got a bit of experience at the level. Jacob Symes from Swansea, former Cardiff under-18 fly-off, who's been out, I think he won like the Australian Championship with the Brumbies under 19 or something as well, didn't he? You got Stuart Floyd Ellis, who's been at Bridgend for a while. Ewan Evans, former Cardiff Academy and RFC centres, coming back from Cornish Pirates, sort of following you around a year behind me. And then a bunch of lads from local teams, Joe Davis, centre from Llanharan, Ollie Shepherd, interesting looking character from southeast of England somewhere, who's been playing for USW, I think. It's sort of an exciting league, an exciting team. So is it what's your sort of thoughts on next season and how Ponty could go?
Yeah, so as a group, as coaching group, we're excited. We've got a lot of new faces. I think it's going to be a tough league. I think it's going to be very, very physical with the likes and with the forward pack of Bargoed, you go Brecon, Merthyr was a standard. They were very forward dominant and aggressive up front. Local derby with Ystrad, I think that's could be an interesting one, home and away. And then like you say, a couple of trips down west end, which really likes a Bonamine, which is up on top of a mountain. I tripped down there before and it's freezing cold, windy, and that's gonna be interesting. One, an eye opener for a few boys maybe as well. So yeah, I think we're hoping the way we're gonna be playing this year is gonna be an exciting brand of rugby. We're hoping if we can get the weather and keep on dry weekends. Like we have got a massive pack, but we got boys who are fit, who are dynamic, who can run when they run at space, they can make line breaks. So we will try and move the ball and not hide away from that. That's the type of rugby I want to play, and a lot of the boys want to play as well, and it suits them best. Which we're hoping when we bring those teams to us, we can stretch them a little bit more, move their foot forwards around the field, and especially on the artificial as well. A lot of the teams who've come up now might not be used to it, not used to playing on that track, and you see a lot of boys cramping up early, but then you get to the 60-minute mark and they gotta make those changes. It's definitely going to be interesting with the law change as well. We're changing down to the new tackle height from last year, so it's going to be an adjustment where a lot of those teams who've already had that have been playing with that for the last year or so. So I think it can be adjustment early on in the start of the season now. So we've got a big push now leading into those preseason games to actually nail it on and get the boys get away from choking and trying to hold up tackles. We actually need to be chopping now a lot more. So it's going to be an interesting one. Definitely a physical competition. I can see that.
And there's a preseason game as well. I think the Rags are coming up to Sardis on the 24th of August. Is that going to be the most competitive preseason friendly in history? Or
I think so. I think it's going to be an interesting one. So we got we got 3 games before that. We got local derby with Abercombe Boy. We got Tenby away. It's a nice little trip down there. Cinderford, who have been in that one. So they're coming down to us after going up to them last year, and then we got Cardiff up at our place then. So it's going to be a nice one to end the pre-season and hopefully be an entertaining one. Hopefully get a good crowd there as well. Obviously not going to be playing them within the season, so it should be a good weekend, which we're hoping will be a good brand of rugby played by both sides. Cause I can imagine Fishy putting his standard stamp of expansive playing rugby, and so yeah, hopefully you can get one up on him.
They might not be going well second half, and then Fisher can just bring himself on or something like that, probably.
Won't put it past him, to be honest.
Harley, anything more from yourself?
Just a couple of quick fire ones. So thinking back to all the histories, two of your favourite Blue and Blacks, one that you played with, and someone who you'd have loved to have played with.
Who played with? Definitely the one I played with is playing with Ray all those years. Been outstanding and hell of a servant to the club. How he's still going is mental. The guy's a freak, to be honest. But he works hard. He's a silent trainer. He keeps himself quiet, and he comes in every season. Oh, I'm not finishing this year, but he does another year, and his body's still he's probably in better shape now as when he first come over. So, he's an unbelievable player and been a great servant to the club, and can't wait to actually see him playing again this year and try and catch up with him a few times when I pop down there. Who'd like to play with? Probably would have loved to play with Martin Williams. He was probably one as growing up, probably watching, and someone I always wanted to kind of be like as a player. I thought I was a flanker when I was younger, but I think that my size was a bit too short for that, so I ended up going in the centre. So yeah, that was probably a player I would have loved to have played with at Cardiff.
Finds out why you were so good over the ball, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then the last silly question we ask all our guests, courtesy of Liam Warrender, sort of the crazy corner with the drums. What's your favourite biscuit?
Ooh, go-to got to be a chocolate digestive, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty popular one.
Yeah.
Well, Garyn, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been great to catch up on your career, and best of luck with Ponty this season, and pop up on August pre-season. Hopefully, get up a few times during the season as well. Especially, I live quite close to Llangennec, so I might pop over for that away trip. So, but yeah, cheers for joining us.
Great, thank you very much for having me on. Look forward to seeing you guys up there.
Cheers. We'll be back over the next couple of weeks. We've got a few more guests lined up, and at some point we'll be reviewing Wales's summer tour, or what's left of it after the next few weeks, and looking ahead to the new season with Cardiff. But cheers, Harley.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers all.